Now on Up North Live News at 6. The seasonal cleanup at the Pines began today in Traverse City. What's different about this year as Safe Harbor looks to get the final approval to operate its emergency shelter year-round. An update on a fire that broke out at a Petoskey business Sunday night, the latest on a possible cause. Plus, a look at a recent report that suggested everyone in state government get a raise, the surprising date of the last pay hike in Lansing.
I'm hoping that this next week is going to be an excellent time to get out there and start looking for them as well.
And we go morel mushroom hunting with an expert, how this season is shaping up.
This is Up North Live News at 6 on 7 and 4.
Well, today, multiple community organizations came together to clean the Pines. It's an area in Traverse City where people experiencing homelessness camp. Our Allie Baxter was there for the start this morning. She joins us now live from our content center. Allie, this isn't something the city just started doing.
Yeah, Mark, they've been doing this cleanup twice a year for several years now, but this could be the last major cleanup that happens there since the city could begin enforcement of its no camping ordinance.
It's going to be ongoing. Usually these things take more than one day to clean up.
Volunteers got an early start Monday morning, lining up with rakes, shovels, trash bags, gloves, and wheelbarrows to tackle a seasonal cleanup at the Pines.
In the spring and the fall, we have a number of volunteers from the community that come out and help. City Streets comes out with their equipment so that we can move some of the larger abandoned camps and trash out of here.
About 30 volunteers split into two groups to focus on opposite sides of the Pines. The city's police social workers, North Boardman officer, and the Goodwill Outreach team were there to help and make contact with people they know still living in the Pines.
We moved to the ones that have been determined to be abandoned or trash that's just on the ground. We will make contact with active camps, and if they want to get rid of anything, we'll certainly help them out. But if it's active, we just kind of move on to the other abandoned sites.
Couches, grills, tarps, and a graveyard of bicycle wheels littered the forest floor.
There's needles, there's human waste. It's not a sanitary area at some points, and that's what we try to clean up and try to make sure that if people are in the Pines residing, that it is healthier for them.
Richmond says the group noticed a bunch of people packing up and moving out of the Pines during the cleanup. Monday afternoon, the city's Department of Public Works had removed 10 dump trucks of trash from the Pines.
There's people that are with organizations, and there's just people that are community members that want to help. And I think that's a good thing, and I think that's what makes Traverse City what Traverse City is there's a lot of support and a lot of people that want to help and make our community best.
City police are supposed to begin enforcement of the city's no camping ordinance tomorrow, as long as a special land use permit is approved for Safe Harbor at the city's meeting tonight. Live in the Content Center, Allie Baxter, back to you.
And we will be at that city meeting. Up North Live's Cody Bear is live outside the governmental center in Traverse City now. Cody, what can you tell us before the meeting tonight?
Maya, this will be a public hearing for the special land use permit, so the community will have the opportunity to weigh in before the City Commission makes a vote. Now, Safe Harbor typically shuts its doors on April 30th, but its current SLUP allows operations until May 15th. So in anticipation of approval for a year-round permit, Safe Harbor is staying open. Now, the meeting is scheduled for 7 p.m. right here at the Governmental Center. Tonight at 11, we will take you inside the public hearing and tell you the vote. Live in Traverse City, Cody Bear, Up North Live News.
We're learning more details about previous charges against Carter Bassett, a Petoskey man facing now 9 felony charges related to alleged construction fraud. Last year, Bassett was charged with fraud and larceny in Presque County for having allegedly taken $76,000 for a job and not following through. Bassett pled no contest to larceny and the felony fraud charge was dropped. According to Presque County prosecutor, Bassett paid the money back in full at sentencing and is currently serving a 6-month sentence in the county jail. His next court date for the new charges in Emmett County, June 18th.
Firefighters fought a structure fire in downtown Petoskey last night. The fire was contained but dealt substantial damage to a local business. Take a look. According to Petoskey Public Safety Director Adrian Carr, the fire alarm at Willow Way Spa and Wellness went off around 9 p.m. Carr says firefighters contained the blaze to the one storefront. The adjoining businesses only received minor smoke damage. We spoke to a fire inspector at the scene. He did decline to speak on the record and said an investigation into the cause is ongoing. We do know that no injuries were reported.
Continuing our coverage tonight, an update from Charlevoix Public Schools on the golf team. 7 players and the coach were hospitalized after a head-on collision last week. Now, Superintendent Mike Ritter says 6 team members have left the hospital, with 2 continuing to receive medical care. A fundraiser for the team's medical expenses has topped its goal of $200,000, raising almost $265,000 as of this afternoon.
You know, when something like this happens, people often just want to know how to help, and they just aren't sure how. The Raider Strong Day last Friday gave our community and many beyond it a meaningful way to show their support. From social media posts to GoFundMe donations, the response has been an incredible display of kindness and compassion. We're working on ways to share these messages with the students and families affected, and still haven't quite figured that out.
Ritter says the Charlevoix Dairy Grill has donated $10,000 to the Charlevoix Junior Golf Association.
Today is Missing and Murdered Indigenous Persons Awareness Day. The day honors victims of violence against tribal communities, particularly against women and girls. You're looking at video from an informal gathering along US 31 in Petoskey. The State Department of Health and Human Services says cases of missing and murdered Indigenous people are underreported and often unsolved. One protester says her cousin was killed by a car in South Dakota and that it remains a cold case there.
And it's so heartbreaking because, like, when other nationalities go missing or are found deceased, there's these huge investigations and national news coverages, and that doesn't happen for our Native American community.
Other events across Michigan today include the March for MMIP in Grand Rapids, a Saginaw Tribe gathering in Mount Pleasant, and Sioux Tribe events in St. Ignace and Manistee.
When was the last time you got a pay raise? If the answer was 23 years ago, you might think you're due for a bump in pay. That suggestion of a bump in pay is what is recently released in a report by the State Officers Compensation Commission arrived at from Michigan's lawmakers, the governor, Secretary of State, and the Attorney General. Ask most elected officials in Lansing why they do what they do, and most will at least respond it's to do the people's work. But it's also a job. Paychecks provided by taxpayers. This report, recently released by the State Officers Compensation Commission, says those paychecks should be a little larger. The SOCC meets every other year in January to determine salaries and expense allowances of the governor, lieutenant governor, legislators, justices of the Michigan Supreme Court, Attorney General, and Secretary of State. Since 2002, not a lot of changes for base pay when it comes to all those elected offices. The governor, $159,000. The Attorney General and Secretary of State, $112,000. State lawmakers, $71,000. So how does that compare to other states? Well, nationwide, the current average governor's salary is $149,000. The lowest being $70,000, the highest topping out over $250,000. Michigan's current governor pay ranks 19th overall. As for lawmakers, for the 10 states with full-time legislatures, like Michigan, the average pay is around $83,000. Michigan ranks 4th highest. Now, states are different, and comparing governors and lawmakers' roles across state lines may not reflect responsibilities, but Michigan's paychecks seem somewhat in line with others. But in this report, the SOCC cites a number of reasons, like cost of living and competition from private sector jobs, to justify a new proposed pay scale. This is what they're calling for in 2027. A 25% bump in pay across the board for all state officers, and an $18,000 annual expense allowance added for the Secretary of State and the Attorney General. If these numbers become reality, using today's salaries elsewhere, Michigan's legislators would be the 4th highest paid in the country, and its governor would be in the top 6. But the SOCC can't implement the pay raises themselves. Lawmakers in both the State House and State Senate would need to adopt this resolution now. And any increase in pay wouldn't go into effect until after the next election. Again, current lawmakers wouldn't be voting to increase their own current pay because a pay raise wouldn't take effect until after the election. And Speaker Hall has said it's a non-starter, that even addressing the issue is unlikely to take place at this time.
Looking ahead now, PFAS contamination has been a growing concern in Wexford County. That's why UpNorthLive has assembled a panel of people working on the problem for a Your Voice, Your Future town hall. It is on Wednesday, May 14th at 7 p.m. in the Cadillac High School auditorium. You can join us in person and be a part of this community discussion. It will also be streamed live on our UpNorthLive website and on all of our digital platforms. The event is free and we hope to see you there. Morel hunting season is well underway in northern Michigan, and we're helping you find the elusive mushroom. Coming up, here are tips from the experts for a successful hunt.
Sun out in some spots, but other areas are actually dealing with a little rain right now. Look at radar and what to expect for the remainder of the week after the break.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.